Police in Denver are continuing to investigate how a 17-year-old girl was shot and killed by police on Monday, and how an officer was injured in the same event. Police say that officers shot and killed 17-year-old Jessica Hernandez, who was behind the wheel of a stolen car. The shooting has sparked protest and a probe of Denver police procedures. The Denver Post, in an editorial, said within the last seven months, Denver police have shot at cars 4 times, killing 2 people. Denver Police Chief Robert White is reviewing the shootings, and the Independent Monitor has launched an investigation into the department's policy, which now allows officers to shoot at cars if they have reasonable belief that the vehicle poses an immediate threat of death or physical injury. Now, we've reached out to the Denver Police, the prosecutor's office, and the Independent Monitor. The prosecutor's office told us in an email the district attorney acknowledges what a tragedy this is for all involved and is working to further the investigation as quickly as possible. But we have cautioned the community that it will likely take several weeks to complete this investigation. The actual time frame depends on how long it takes to complete the gathering of all statements, evidence, and test results, including the autopsy report and the toxicology results. And joining me now is Pastor Anthony Grimes, the founder of the Denver Freedom Riders, and Mimi Madrid Puga of the Colorado Anti-Violence Program. And thanks to both of you for being here. And I'll start with you on this, Pastor Grimes. What has been the reaction of the community to this shooting? And do you feel that the police have been forthcoming enough to have the public feel informed about it?
Well, thank you. The reaction has been grief that's been palpable, as you can understand. This begins with baby, one of our babies in our community, Jessie Hernandez, being on the ground and being handcuffed instead of resuscitated. And as you can imagine, our community is hurting over something like this. And we currently are putting pressure on the department and on the DA office, because history has shown us unless we do that, we won't get justice. And so we want justice, and the community is pretty much in line with that.
And Mimi, is the question on the part of the community there in Denver, is it the question of the individual circumstances of this shooting, or is it the policies that, as we read in the Denver Post, have resulted in multiple shootings of people who were in moving cars?
Absolutely. It's both an individual situation, but at the same time, we are, as a community, holding solidarity, not only for folks who have lost their lives here in Denver, but people all across this nation who have not survived violence from the police. And so while it's an independent case, there is solidarity across the nation, not only to change policies, because we understand that having cameras or changing the policy of shooting vehicles might be a start, but what we want is real accountability from the police department, all the police departments across the nation, to keep police officers accountable and to bring charges to them, to indict them and bring charges to them to the full extent of the law, especially when treating with young people, young queer people, and young people of color.
And Anthony Grimes, you know, I grew up in Denver. I haven't lived there for many years, but I wonder what is the relationship like between the people, the communities of color, which we know that there are sort of individual communities of color that are growing in Denver, and the police department. I mean, the Denver Police Department has an African-American chief. What was the relationship like before this incident, and what's it like now?
We certainly have work to do. You mentioned Chief White, and there are other individuals who have seemed to make an effort to be in relationship with community, but this is not about any individual police officer. It's about reforming a rotten system, not going after bad apples or good apples, but reforming a rotten system of policing. And in that regard, we have much work to do, and that's why we're out there on the streets and protesting and doing all that we can to point the issue, point the spotlight on the issue, as my sister here said, as Mimi has said, that we have way too much of this happening across the nation, whether it's black or brown. These eulogies, whether they're in Spanish or English, every other day a mother is having to read the eulogy of her baby, and in a democracy that should not be. And we want to change that in Denver and across the nation.
All right. Well, we really thank both of you for being here. We'll definitely be keeping our eye on this story and on what's happening in Denver. Thank you so much to Pastor Anthony Grimes as well as Mimi Madrid Puga. Thanks for both of you. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
All right. Why does Boko Haram have such a stranglehold on Nigeria? Up next, we will take an in-depth look at the group's impact on Nigeria and the entire continent of Africa.